Let me ask you something. Have you ever woken up and just felt nothing? Not tired, not sad, not angry, just a strange, hollow neutrality, like someone pressed mute on your insides. You go through the motions, you brush your teeth, you answer messages, you smile at people. But inside, it's like the lights are on, but no one's home. I've seen this before, many times, in others, and in myself. It's not burnout, it's not laziness, it's not just a phase, no, it's something much deeper. I'll tell you what I think happened. Your emotions got tired of being ignored, so they left, seriously. They formed a union and went on strike. Think about it. How long have you been stuffing things down? How many times did you tell yourself I'm fine? When you weren't, how often did you feel something real and immediately shut it off? At some point, your emotions got fed up, and like overworked employees in a toxic company, they stopped showing up. That deep feeling of detachment you can't explain, that's the strike. That inner fog, that sense of being flatlined, that's the strike. That smile you wear with absolutely nothing behind it. Strike. Here's the scary part. Most people don't even know it's happening. They think they're just tired. They blame work, the weather, their sleep. But really, their emotional life has quietly quit on them, and they never noticed. See, in psychoanalysis, we talk a lot about repression, about what happens when we push feelings away. But what we don't talk about enough is what happens when the feelings themselves push us away. They retreat. They fold their arms. They say, fine. If you're not going to listen, we're out. No rage, no drama. Just quiet refusal. You might think you've grown numb, but what if I told you you've been abandoned by the parts of yourself that once animated your entire experience? That's what I want to explore with you here. Not in theory, in your life, in you. Because behind the silence is a message. And maybe, just maybe, that silence has been trying to tell you something all along. Let me tell you something that might sound strange. Your emotions didn't vanish. They withdrew, on purpose, and not to punish you, but to protect you. Yes, protect. See, emotions aren't just moods or reactions. They are signals, messages from deeper parts of your psyche that try, again and again, to help you understand the world and yourself. They are ancient, intelligent systems built not just to feel, but to warn, guide, connect, and transform. But when you repeatedly ignore them, when you silence anger with logic, bury sadness under fake smiles, or dismiss anxiety as weakness, something starts to shift inside. The messages don't go away, but the messengers, they stop coming to your door. Let's go deeper. Maybe somewhere in childhood you were told directly or indirectly, stop crying, you're fine. Don't be angry, it's rude. Why are you so sensitive all the time? You're too much. So what did you learn? You learned that emotions make you unacceptable. You didn't stop feeling, you just stopped expressing. You smiled when you wanted to scream. You laughed when you wanted to cry. You said it's okay when it absolutely wasn't. Over time, this creates a split between your real, emotional self and your public, adaptive self. The first feels deeply, but stays hidden. The second performs, smiles, functions, proves, survives. But the real self eventually gets tired of being locked away. So the emotions, which live there, go quiet. They say, we've tried. You won't let us speak, so we'll step back. And that's the strike. Not dramatic, not chaotic, just eerily silent. But don't get this wrong. This isn't your emotions abandoning you. This is them setting a boundary. It's their way of saying, we will not be weaponized. We will not be silenced and misused. They are waiting for something from you. They want recognition. They want to be felt, not fixed. To be heard, not controlled. To be trusted, not judged. The reason you feel numb or detached isn't because you're broken. It's because you're emotionally disconnected from the truth of what you carry. And believe me, the human psyche is wise. It will always find a way to get your attention, sometimes through anxiety, sometimes through depression, and sometimes through nothing at all. That nothingness is a form of protest, and like any protest, it has demands. So let's not label this as burnout or mood swings. Let's call it what it is, a system that's refusing to function without respect. Your emotions aren't the problem. Your disconnection from them is. And now is the moment to begin the repair. Ask yourself, gently, without judgment, which parts of me have I ignored for too long? What have I been too busy or too afraid to feel? Because once you ask, they may finally answer. Let's be honest, no one enjoys emotional chaos. No one wakes up saying, I hope I cry in the shower today, or I really hope unresolved childhood fear hijacks my presentation. So we develop strategies. We get good at numbing, avoiding, intellectualizing, fixing. We tell ourselves it's maturity, discipline, control. But underneath that surface calm, a storm is gathering. And if you're here, listening, wondering why you feel empty, stuck, or distant from yourself, let me tell you something that might surprise you. Your emotions didn't leave randomly. They are demanding something from you. Yes, your sadness, your rage, your fear, even your joy, they have been trying to get your attention, not to destroy you, to integrate with you, to be heard and seen, and finally treated with the dignity they deserve. So, what are their demands? Let's start with the first. 1. Feel us without filters. Not analyze us, not correct us. Just feel us. Stop translating every feeling into a thought. Sadness doesn't always need a reason. Fear doesn't need to be rational. Let the emotions be. They're real, even when they don't make sense. 2. Stop performing well-being. You don't need to smile all the time. You don't need to be grateful when you're grieving. You don't need to say, I'm fine, when you're clearly not. This emotional strike, it's a rebellion against the pressure to appear together while falling apart inside. 3. Make space for all of us. You don't get to pick and choose. You can't chase joy and ignore grief. Can't welcome confidence but exile shame. They're a package deal. You're a whole system. And every emotion, even the ugly ones, has a seat at the table. 4. Stop labeling us as weak. You're not broken because you feel deeply. You're not less strong because you cry. You're not unstable because you admit you're scared. Your emotional depth is not a liability. It's the exact opposite. It's your capacity to be human. 5. Come back to your body. You can't reconnect with your emotions from your head alone. They live in your chest, your stomach, your breath. You've lived so long in your mind, managing, overthinking, predicting, that you've forgotten how to feel from the neck down. This strike isn't about punishing you. It's about inviting you to come back into relationship with your entire self, not just the version that gets things done or makes people comfortable. You've survived with half of you asleep. What would life be like if all of you woke up? This is the moment where people usually ask me, but how do I start? How do I feel again when I'm numb? My answer is not complicated, but it is uncomfortable. You stop running from the thing inside you that hurts. You sit with it. You name it. You breathe with it. You let it be as big or as quiet as it needs to be. You don't fix it. You befriend it. That's what the emotional union wants from you. Not perfection, not performance, just permission. You might think you're getting away with it. You function. You show up. You do your job. You keep the peace. You even laugh sometimes. To the world, you look fine, stable, strong, normal. But let's be honest, underneath it all, you're tired. Not just physically, but existentially. You go through life like it's a role you've been assigned, and no matter how well you play it, something inside remains untouched, unfulfilled. This, my friend, is the cost of emotional silence, and in our modern world, it's epidemic. We live in a culture that glorifies performance and punishes feeling. You're rewarded for being unbothered, unshakable, productive. You're expected to grind when you're grieving, smile when you're anxious, push forward when your soul is begging you to pause. The more disconnected you become from your emotions, the more you rely on substitutes, scrolling, shopping, substances, status, achievements. But here's the truth no one tells you. Numbing one emotion numbs them all. You can't mute sadness without muting joy. You can't suppress fear and still expect to feel peace. You can't lock away grief and still feel truly alive. And eventually, the body keeps score. Your nervous system stays on high alert. You don't sleep well. You can't focus. Your chest feels tight. Your stomach clenches for no reason. You say, it's stress, but it's unfelt emotion knocking on the door. And relationships, they suffer too. Because when you're disconnected from your own inner world, how can you truly connect with someone else's? You fake intimacy. You say, I love you, while holding parts of yourself hostage. You stay in the room, but you're not really there. This is what happens when emotions go on strike. You don't feel dead, but you're not fully alive either. You live in the gray zone, safe, controlled, and utterly distant from your own humanity. And the worst part, the world applauds you for it. They say, you're so composed, you're so disciplined, you're so put together. They don't realize they're praising your disconnection, and neither do you, until the ache becomes unbearable. So I'll ask you this, when was the last time you cried and didn't apologize for it? When was the last time you said, I'm not okay, and actually meant it? When was the last time you felt anything fully, without shame or filter? This is not weakness. This is the work. Reclaiming your emotional life in a world that rewards numbness, that's real courage, that's sanity, that's healing. So no, emotional silence is not harmless. It is a quiet war against the self, and the only way to end it is to listen again. Because your emotions are still there, waiting, not for your performance, but for your presence. You've made it this far. You've probably realized something important. This wasn't about weakness. It was never about fixing you. It was about reconnection with the parts of yourself you've silenced for far too long. And maybe, just maybe, they're ready to return. But let me be clear. When emotions come back after a strike, they don't tiptoe in. They arrive all at once, with stories, with pain, with memories you swore you buried. They don't knock politely. They kick the door open, throw their bags on the floor and say, "Are you finally ready to hear us now?" And yes, that moment can feel like chaos. The first wave often isn't joy. It's grief. Grief for the time you lost pretending to be okay. Grief for the younger version of you who didn't feel safe enough to cry. Grief for how long you've been disconnected from your own truth. You might feel shame for being human, anger for not waking up sooner, sadness for all the emotions that never had a voice. But here's the miracle. Feeling doesn't break you. It rebuilds you. You begin to realize your emotions were never the enemy. They were the navigation system. They were the bridge between your intellect and your intuition. They were the way your body and mind kept each other honest. And when you finally listen, the numbness begins to fade. Color returns to the world, not because anything changed out there, but because something opened in here. You laugh again, really laugh. Not the polite chuckle at a meme, but the kind that comes from your chest. You cry, and it doesn't feel like failure. It feels like freedom. You get angry, and instead of pushing it down, you ask, what is this anger protecting? You feel love, not as a transaction, but as a presence. Slowly, the emotional union begins to trust you again, and you begin to trust yourself. You stop living on autopilot. You stop chasing perfection. You stop asking, what do they want from me? And instead ask, what do I need? And something beautiful happens. You become safer to others, not because you hide your chaos, but because you're no longer afraid of it.
People sense it. They open up around you, because the parts you've reclaimed in yourself allow space for the humanity in others. You find yourself saying, I don't have all the answers, but I'm here. And that becomes enough, more than enough. So what happens when you finally listen to the emotions that went on strike? You stop surviving, and you start living. And no, this isn't a magical perfect ending. You'll still struggle, still forget, still want to run sometimes. But now you'll notice, you'll pause, you'll say, ah, the union is whispering again. And instead of silencing it, you'll pull up a chair and listen. Because now you understand, emotions don't destroy you, disconnection does. So if you've been numb, forgive yourself. If you've shut down, welcome back. If you feel lost, begin here. Not with a fix, not with a plan, just with a breath. And maybe this simple truth, you're allowed to feel again. And your emotions, they've been waiting for this moment all along.